Fairies.
The story opens right in the heart of London, when a well-prepared group of criminals appears with a daring goal to seize a heavily guarded armored money transport vehicle. They act decisively and neatly, quickly taking control of the entire area, forcing everyone present to raise their hands in surrender. In that chaotic scene, a lucky employee seizes the chance to slip away. However, events unfold faster than expected. The employee who had escaped manages to trigger the alarm. The alarm sound rings out, tearing through the suffocating tension. Realizing that law enforcement could arrive at any moment, the entire group retreats immediately. Devon stays behind for a few more minutes, carefully erasing all traces before triggering an explosion to destroy the evidence. Before leaving, the leader Henry tosses Devon a bag of money and instructs him to meet at a small airport outside the city. Devon quickly heads to the car where Veronica, his girlfriend, is already waiting. The two embrace with excitement. After this job, they dream of heading to the Santa Monica Pier to enjoy a new life without worries. When they reach the airport, they wait anxiously for takeoff. But even after waiting quite a while, Henry still has not appeared. The prolonged wait causes Veronica to gradually lose patience. She repeatedly questions Devon about having to fly at night and the suspicious nature of everything. Devon tries to reassure her, asking her to trust him. He explains that the other accomplices are waiting at different airports, departing at the same time to mislead the pursuit. But while they are still waiting, the sound of law enforcement sirens echoes from afar. A sense of unease rises in Devon. He decides to check the money bag one last time before leaving and immediately freezes. Inside are not bills but only worthless stacks of paper. Before he can understand what is happening, headlights surround them from all sides. Leading the way is Officer Jackson, who coldly demands their surrender. With no way out, Devon desperately pulls Veronica back, pretending to hold her hostage and threatening the forces ahead, hoping to buy time to find an escape. But just as he tries to regain control, his phone suddenly rings. The caller is his mother, and in that 1 second of distraction, law enforcement rushes in. Devon is subdued and arrested in an instant. Not long after, he is sentenced to 8 years in prison for his involvement in the incident. However, after 5 years of rehabilitation, he is released early. Even so, when he steps out of the prison gate, Devon has no intention of returning to an honest path. He seeks out his old weapons supplier, but everything has changed, the old connections are gone, and the man refuses to help for free. With no other choice, Devon removes his father's watch, the last keepsake, and sells it to obtain a gun. When he holds it in his hand, he has only one goal left: Henry. Devon heads straight to the man's company. On the way in, the secretary tries to stop him, but he pays no attention. Inside the office, a chaotic scene is unfolding. Henry is cornering the accountant Kimber with no way out. Kimber is clearly resisting in panic. Pushed to her limit, she grabs the vase on the desk and smashes it hard against Henry's head. The sound of impact echoes, causing Henry to stagger and collapse into his chair. At that exact moment, Devon walks in. He freezes when he sees Henry gasping, his breathing growing weaker. Just seconds later, Henry stops moving. The situation takes a completely unexpected turn for Devon. Devon turns to Kimber, trying to stay calm and asking her to explain. In her panic state, Kimber says she only acted in self-defense when attacked. The answer leaves Devon in a deadlock. He never expected that claiming his share would turn into a bigger mess than the time he had already served. Before he can leave, the door suddenly bursts open. Security forces flood in, plunging the situation into immediate chaos. After a tense struggle, Devon barely manages to break through them. Hearing more footsteps rushing down the hallway, Kimber grabs Devon's hand and the two quickly flee the scene. She is so terrified she nearly bursts into tears. But after they have gone a short distance, Devon suggests that Kimber should report it as self-defense. She does not need to run like a guilty person. However, Kimber firmly refuses. She believes the entire law enforcement presence in the area is connected to Henry. This is not the first time she has become his target, so if she reports it, she will be the one to face the consequences. Meanwhile, the secretary discovers Henry is motionless and immediately calls law enforcement. In another development, Chen, the mastermind behind the entire affair, also receives the news from his subordinate Winmore. Chen grips his wine glass so tightly it nearly shatters, his eyes bloodshot with rage, and immediately orders Winmore to find those responsible by any means. After reviewing the information, Winmore returns with a discovery that makes the situation even more serious. Devon, whom they had once considered a disposable pawn, has now returned, and he was present at the scene right before Henry collapsed. Upon hearing this, Chen's fury erupts. Without hesitation, he orders Winmore to deal with Devon immediately. At the same time, Devon is heading to the workplace of Toby, a member of the group from 5 years ago. The only thing is that Toby has also just received news of Henry's downfall and has prepared in advance. Outside the teddy bear factory, Devon tries to hand the gun to Kimber so she can protect herself. But Kimber shakes her head firmly. She does not want to hold it because it makes her feel like a criminal. Devon looks at her for a moment, then has no other choice and asks her to stay behind and wait for his signal. He then climbs the stairs, advancing cautiously deeper inside. But the moment he rounds the corner, a surprise blow strikes Devon's head. Everything before his eyes goes dark and he loses consciousness. When he wakes up, the first person Devon sees is Toby. The overhead light casts a heavy atmosphere. Devon tries to stay calm. He asks Toby directly whether he knew about Henry's betrayal plan. Toby firmly denies it, saying he knew nothing at all, but the answer lacks conviction. It only fuels Devon's anger even more. He demands his share in a harsh tone, emphasizing that he had stayed silent to protect them and had endured 5 years of imprisonment in place of the whole group. During that time, his youth was buried behind bars. But Toby only replies coldly that he owes Devon nothing. His rage reaches its peak, and Devon suddenly lunges at the nearby bodyguard, trying to take him down to break free. After a tense struggle, Devon finally succeeds. With one powerful strike, he brings the bodyguard down. But immediately, Toby draws his gun and points it straight at Devon's head. The situation falls into deadlock again. Fortunately, before Toby can act, Kimber appears and shoots him in the leg, causing him to fall to the floor. The fall accidentally triggers the gun in his hand, and he becomes the one to suffer the consequence. But the events are not over. Outside, Chen's men have stormed into the factory. With no time to think, Devon grabs Kimber and they run. The two dash out, quickly seize a car and escape by a hair's breadth. As the car speeds away into the night, Devon begins recounting the entire story. All the current troubles stem from the incident 5 years ago. He talks about the money he never received, the lonely years in prison, and the dream of reaching the Santa Monica Pier with Veronica to start a new life. But that dream shattered the moment he was handcuffed. The next morning, Devon decides to visit Veronica. When the door opens, he is stunned. In her arms is a baby. Veronica smiles awkwardly, invites him in, and gently introduces the child as her daughter with her husband. The words feel like an invisible cut to Devon's heart. Understanding this, Veronica explains that during the entire time Devon was imprisoned, all contact between them had been cut off. No letters, no calls, no news at all. She had waited in vain. The prolonged silence gradually eroded her faith. In the end, she had no choice but to move on, get married, and work as a mechanic to support her family. When Devon asks why she did not wait for him, Veronica cannot answer fully. It was not because she did not want to, but because she no longer believed in a future for the two of them. The answer makes the atmosphere in the house heavy. Devon leaves in silent pain. He returns to the car where Kimber is waiting, carrying a reality even harder to accept than the years he had endured. As soon as he gets in, the car quietly pulls away from the house. On the road, Devon takes out an old postcard showing the Santa Monica Pier, the symbol of their old dream. He stares at it for a few seconds, then lets it go, letting it fly away in the wind like the future he once believed in. Wanting a moment of peace, Devon takes Kimber to a roadside diner. The soft yellow light shines down on the table, but cannot dispel the gloom on Devon's face. Kimber tries to reassure him, saying he cannot blame Veronica, because he himself had cut off all contact. He had not given her the chance to wait. Devon lowers his head and admits it was all his fault. In his blind anger, he even blurts out that the child somehow reminded him of negative things, a remark born from pain rather than reason. But right then, Devon's eyes suddenly change. Through the glass, he sees dangerous faces, clearly the men sent to deal with him. The very next second, the attack begins. After escaping by a hair's breadth, Devon realizes he has few options left. Everyone has turned against him now. Only Kai is the last person he can trust. Meanwhile, Chen has a private meeting with Officer Jackson. Jackson warns that what Chen is doing will bring consequences even he may struggle to control. But Chen only laughs. He says he has been in the game since Jackson was very young. Stopping him is not easy. It would take a large force to do so. That arrogance is not only a challenge but also signals a major confrontation ahead. At the same time, Devon finally makes contact with Kai and arranges a meeting. When they face each other, Devon gets straight to the point, asking why Kai stayed silent and sided with those who betrayed him. Kai thinks for a long time before finally revealing the truth. After the incident back then, the money was divided into 4 shares. But Henry quickly took control of everything. He threatened to eliminate Kai if he dared reveal anything. So Kai chose silence to stay alive. A decision that cost Devon 5 years of freedom. After hearing this, Devon grows quiet and admits he had been too angry when he learned the truth. Everything he had sacrificed brought him nothing. Kai feels guilty and offers to make it right. But what Devon needs first is a good lawyer for Kimber, who is now caught in a mess that could destroy her life. Kai agrees and steps outside to make a call. However, they do not know that at this very moment, a storm is forming from both sides. Chen gathers his men and sets out to hunt Devon. On the other side, Jackson also assembles his team after receiving intelligence. He reports that Devon is at Kai's house but instructs everyone to act carefully to avoid unnecessary losses. Clearly, both sides are targeting the same single goal, Devon. Back at Kai's house, the door suddenly bursts open. It is the same pursuer from the diner earlier. Devon freezes for a second, realizing the location has been leaked, and the betrayal hits like a direct blow. Rage erupts in the cramped space, and words quickly turn into a brawl. Kai is the first to fall under the attacker's assault. Outside, Jackson waits patiently, ready to act at any moment. Not far away, Chen and his men watch silently, hoping the attacker finishes the job. Inside, Devon and his opponent clash. After a fierce struggle, Devon finally knocks him to the floor. But right as he prepares to end it, Devon notices the man is wearing a small camera recording everything. The detail makes him pause for a moment. Taking advantage of Devon speaking into the camera, the thug jumps up and launches a fierce attack. When the situation grows tense, Kimber quickly rushes over, picks up the fallen camera, stuffs it into her pocket, and returns to help Devon. The tide turns sharply. Kimber is no longer the panicked girl from before. She now steps into the fight with no way back. At that moment, the door to Kai's house bursts open. Jackson and his tactical team storm in, searching everywhere, but find only the badly injured thug. Devon and Kimber had left just minutes earlier. Realizing the target has vanished, Jackson immediately orders the entire area sealed off. His forces spread across every route to track them down. On the other side, Chen and his men also pick up the trail. From the camera Kimber is carrying, they determine Devon's direction. Without delay, the group jumps into their vehicles and heads to the outskirts in pursuit. While fleeing, Devon and Kimber happen to spot a wooden carousel by the riverside park. After everything, they decide to stop for a few minutes, a rare moment of calm amid the chase from both sides. But the peace does not last. As night falls, while the two are sharing with each other, Chen and his men suddenly appear, surrounding the entire area. Devon is completely caught off guard because he never knew Chen was behind everything. Subordinate Winmore steps forward and coldly declares that what happened to Henry, Toby, and Kai cannot go unpunished. He reveals that all three were Chen's men, and Chen himself was the one orchestrating every plan from the start. Understanding the dangerous situation, Devon cares only about protecting Kimber. He begs Chen to let her go and not drag her into this vortex. But Chen flatly refuses. Unwilling to accept it, Kimber speaks up and asks why they are determined to deal with both of them. Winmore replies coldly that Devon has left Henry, Toby, and Kai with no chance to live, and Kimber is an accomplice, so she must share the same fate. Immediately, Kimber protests. She insists Devon had nothing to do with those things. She herself had struck Henry in self-defense when cornered. Kai was taken down by the thug, and Toby's death was an unintended accident. She explains that she only shot Toby in the leg, but in the chaos, he accidentally triggered the gun and caused his own downfall. The air around them seems to freeze. The truth has been spoken. But is it enough to calm Chen's rage? At this point, Chen no longer hides. He calmly admits his role and coldly declares he will end everything quickly and cleanly. With that, he turns and walks away, leaving two henchmen to finish the rest. But at the critical moment, Jackson and his team suddenly appear, quickly subduing the two henchmen and rescuing Devon and Kimber in an instant. However, the injuries from before have exceeded Devon's endurance. Once the situation stabilizes, he collapses and falls into a coma. In another development, at his luxurious home, Chen sits calmly enjoying coffee as if nothing has happened. At that moment, a subordinate enters and reports a visitor is waiting. When Chen steps out, he faces Jackson and his forces, who are ready. This time their eyes show no warning but a real encirclement. 6 months later, in the visiting room of the prison, Kimber sits quietly across from Devon. Her eyes are no longer panicked but determined. She says that no matter what happens, she will never stop visiting him. She will wait until the day he is free. And when that day comes, they will head together toward the life they once dreamed of. Not some distant place, but a peaceful life with no more chases or betrayals. Between the cold walls, for the first time in a very long while, Devon smiles faintly. Not because everything has become easy, but because he knows there is still someone out there who believes he deserves a second chance. The story ends here. Thank you for watching.